you feel that they've given Barcelona a bit too much of a head start. With 9 matches to go, they are 8 points ahead of the defending champions. But have we seen Xavi pull off one of the greatest managerial tactical decisions ever by pretending that he's going to leave at the end of the season? Because look what's happened. Ever since he said he was going to go, they are unbeaten. They've won 7 matches, of course, the latest of which a comfortable 3-0 victory at the Metropolitano away against Atleti. And such is the Champions League draw. You could very much foresee them making it through to the Champions League final, and who knows what could happen over 90 minutes. And would that mean Xavi could be manager next season? Sid addressed that at the weekend.
Xavi has just a little bit left the door open to the possibility of continuing should the season end well and should people say, hey, look, how about you carry on? When Xavi announced that he was going, he was asked very directly, but what if you win the Champions League? He said, makes no difference. I am going. The last 3 or 4 weeks, and in particular the last fortnight, have been different because every time he's asked, you know, could things change? Are things changing with these results? He keeps using this lovely Spanish phrase, which is a día de hoy, which is to say right now, today, nothing has changed. But it's always a día de hoy. It's always right now. There's no absolutely definitive, that's it, I'm out of here.
Oh, a día de hoy.
Yes.
Well, Alex.
That's a really mysterious phrase.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you've got to remember what the reasons were for Xavi to make this decision in the first place, right? It's not that he doesn't want to be Barca manager. Of course he wants to be Barca manager. It's the only job that he wanted. The problem was he wasn't enjoying it because it wasn't going well. He felt like he was being treated badly by the press. The players weren't happy. He wasn't getting the results. Well, if enough of those circumstances change, does that change his mind? Now they are getting the results. So now the atmosphere is better. The players seem, strangely, to be playing for him now that he said that he's off. The big question, of course, Sid mentioned it there, depending on how the season goes. So how well does the rest of the season have to go for Xavi to change his mind? You know, is going through the Champions League quarterfinals and getting to the semi-finals, is that enough? Would it take getting to the final? Would it take winning a trophy, which seems unlikely at this stage, as we saw there 8 points behind Madrid in La Liga, and winning the Champions League, you think probably beyond this team, but I guess you never know. But that's the big question. How well does the season have to go for him to seriously reconsider? And what would it take for the club as well to go to him, for Joan Laporta to go to him and say, look, don't go, stay, because we think that you are, in fact, the guy to carry on. So there's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of kind of conditionals there. But like I said, the bottom line is, this is a guy who loves Barca, who wanted to be Barcelona manager, and said he was going because he was just so desperately sort of unhappy with the situation and the way they were playing. And he thought it was for the best for the team for him to go. So if that changes the equation for him as well.
Xavi's been in football a long time. And I know that we always say that, you know, it's about results. But from Xavi's point of view, he's not stupid. You know, him deciding to leave wasn't just because of results. He must have thought that this team's not good enough, or am I good enough? I can't get a tune out of this team. And with all the pressure, and then you got to add that, you know, last year he wanted 4 players, so we were told, and he never got any of them. So you add all these things up, some good results aren't going to change his mind.
But you always tell me that managers have egos, yeah? So does this not feed the ego? If he goes on
yes, of course we do.
and takes the Champions League final, is he not thinking, hey, maybe I am good enough for this job? Maybe I should stay?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. As I said, you know, Alex saying they're getting results, right? But when you're sat and you're the coach and you see what's happening, you know the difference between, well, you know what, I've turned this team around and we're outplaying teams and we're deserving to win games. You really can't turn around and say that very often about Barcelona.
The reason
he's not daft enough. He understands that, you know what, we might be getting some good results, but I can't get through this again next year. And I don't believe we're going to get players in because we don't have the money.
The reason this is a conversation, Ali, is because of the way the draw played out on Friday. How would you rank them 1 to 4 most likely to make it through to the final between PSG, Borussia Dortmund, Atleti and Barca?
Barcelona, PSG.
So you would have Barcelona going to the final?
I have Barcelona going past PSG, and so I would have Barcelona going past Atletico Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. And so that's why I have Barcelona, PSG, Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund.
Wow.
And look, if I were Xavi,
You're nodding along, Stevie. Yeah, you
I
agree.
agree with Ali 100%.
and if I were Xavi, actually take this opportunity. If indeed I make it all the way to Champions League final, and who knows, you go on to win it, you're right into the sunset. Yeah.
See ya.
See you all later. Thanks for coming. Thanks for participating in this wonderful experience with me. I'm out. You guys keep your mess. I'm out of here.
How silly is all this, Alex, eh? Barcelona have been so critical, have had just such a mess off the season, most of it on it as well, and they could be Champions League finalists.
Oh, it's football, isn't it? I mean, this sort of thing happens. The other thing with Xavi, it's worth mentioning that sort of what he's been saying repeatedly after games over the last few weeks, and he keeps talking about his decision to leave and sort of talking about how he's been vindicated by the performances and by the results, which I'm not sure has always been the case, because the performances haven't always been as good as the results might suggest. It's almost sounded like he has been trying to convince himself that this was the right decision to go. And if he keeps saying it enough times, it starts to become true and he will start to believe it. And the fact that he keeps repeating it over and over again kind of makes you think that he is questioning it himself a little bit. Now, whether that's enough to actually act on those doubts and to change his mind is another question. But it feels to me like, at least for him, those doubts are there.
To try to make a connection between Xavi announcing that he's leaving and Robert Lewandowski scoring the goal that he scored this weekend when he's going away from goal and finds the far post off the post and in, which he hadn't been doing over the course of the season consistently, and say that that's happening due in part because Xavi announced that he was leaving, that's nonsense. Let me just tell you, nonsense. The game is gone and we're trying to make a connection between Lewandowski scoring and Xavi leaving.
Oh. So that segment was a complete waste of time.
I think so.
Add it to the list.